Now, I messed up a lot on my first job, like a lot. This might make you feel better about your first job, whether you're getting into it now or if you've ever, whenever you've been into it. You know what I mean? But it's a top five list. Number five, actually put groceries into the wrong car. Like I was told what car was coming, and I didn't know. Like I'm not I'm not a specialty on cars, so I just went to this one car. It happened to be open, so I'm like, oh, this must be the car, and I just put the groceries in there. And thankfully, the manager laughed that I put him in the wrong car. That was just something that um, I never heard complain about. Never heard the big boss complain about. So that's just that's just number five. Number four, uh, waiting the clock out for a few minutes. Now, picture this. I always clock in early. If I'm there early, I was usually early. I was late like once by 1 minute, and I usually clock on. I clock out on time, uh, not beforehand. And the big boss saw that and got really mad at me, and I ended up giving him a thank you card for for a whole year. And he like, it's not gonna be another year if you keep that up. Like he was just like so mad at me for no reason. Like I just waited a few minutes to clock out. Like it's not that big of a deal. So many people do that anyway. It's like he wouldn't let me say like, look, I usually clock in early and then I clock out when it's time for me to be done with my shift. I didn't want to be like you know I want to be honest. If it says I'm here till 5 p.m., I'm gonna clock out at 5 p.m. Like I know that gives me a little bit of extra money, but it just put my mind at ease. But yeah, he freaked out about that. Um, Number three, breaking the boss's break door room, the door in the break room. Now, it's not the one at there was one on the next level. It was a little mini one where you could put your sweatshirts and stuff like that. And one day they said I could keep a drink there, so I kept it in there. And one time I went to open it and I kicked it by accident. Like I was all hyped up on Mountain Dew. Like I was drinking 2 liters of Mountain Dew. I guess I put a hole into the bottom of it, and I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell the boss. Like the boss was furious. He wanted to know who did it, and like nobody. Uh, I didn't tell anyone, and also uh no one knew it was me. So I'm like, I just kept my mouth zipped, and eventually he replaced it with a little pad on the door, so whenever you kick it, it protects it. What was I supposed to do there? Be like, sorry, sir. This guy already had anger issues, and I was 18 at the time. I was like, I was just a young adult. I wasn't gonna own up to my mistake. Especially looking back with him with his anger issues. No. Uh, the second worst thing I did was telling boss's wife the wrong start off price. So when I started my job, I thought I was gonna get 745, but I actually was getting 725, but the boss's wife said, "Oh, so it's 725," and I honestly thought it was 745, the starting off. So I told her 745 instead, and she put that in the system. Now later on, I kept hearing about somebody getting raises, and it just started making me jealous. She just brag about her raises getting raised. uh, getting raised money. You know what I mean? Getting raises, raisins, getting raisins, and yeah, I complain. I'm like, hey, this girl says she's been getting raises every year. Uh, I didn't know that was a thing. I heard that was a thing from her. But guess what? They're like, oh, how much do you make again? And I'm like 745, and he was like, what? You looked as like you're supposed to be making 725. You owe us money. Let's just call it off, okay? I'm like, he's like, I don't know how that happened. Well, I did, and it was another mistake of mine. I just really messed up at this job, guys. I really did. uh, my first one though. So, some bonuses is I wore my M&M hat instead of the company hat, and he gave me a company hat. The company hat. He's like, here, like he's giving, like it's like, like, oh, this is free. There you go, buddy. And then just so I made sure I represented the company, I guess. Um, and also the drinking out of the 2 liter Mountain Dew was kind of like a one of those things. One of the managers like shook his head at because it was just like too much. I did some other things that made him mad. Like I asked to be um a cashier, and he said, oh yeah, we will, and then it never happened, and then it's like, and then the next one is like, we need you right now at the where I was a cart boy, so I felt like they kind of just didn't like honor, like, oh yeah, we'll talk about it. Like the first time he kind of lied to me. But anyway, this is number one: getting fired for saying "fuck off" to the manager twice. I was not having it. I lost my mom that year. Lost my mom to death that year. And I'm not in the mood. It was after you know Christmas, and I just wasn't having it. It was, remember, it was the 29th. I was just like, I didn't want to go into the next year without my mom. Like that just, I was not in the mood. I didn't want to be there. This guy was on my ass the whole time. Like, oh, come to me when you need something done. You see, this was a whole nother one thing. Like, if you're a cart boy, you couldn't just talk with the cashiers. Like, the cashiers could like just goof around and do whatever they want if it's not busy, but just like talk amongst each other. But if you were a cart boy, you had to keep working for some reason. It was really odd. So I just stopped. I just wanted to talk with the other people, and I told him I got done with everything, and he didn't believe me. Or I guess he did believe me, but he gave me some other things to do, and I just was like, come on, dude. Like, you're saying that I have to stay busy while you are on your phone and the other people are just hanging out talking to each other. Like, I just always felt like cart boys were treated like the worst. Look, we're like the bottom of the totem pole. You know what I mean? Like, just treated the worst. So after a while, he saw some trash that wasn't fully taken out, because there's just a little bit of trash in there. I didn't want to like waste a bag for that. And he's like, "This looks like shit," and he started walking away. I told him, "Fuck off." Like after hounding my ass like 3 or 4 times, I'm like, just fuck off, dude. And then he's like, what do you say? And I said, fuck off. I didn't know when people said, what did you say? They don't want you to say it again. They're like begging you for you to say it just to get fired or whatever. I got fired. I was getting sent home, and I threw my uniform on the ground. I was just so fucking pissed. Like like I was already dealing with enough shit as it was. And then he's like, and don't bother coming back. And I haven't come back. And there's a lot of times they need someone for the carts, and and I'm like, yep. Karma, karma. But yeah, those are the top 5 things that I did in my first job that got me in trouble. Leave some stories of your own in the comments if you want. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new. And I'll see you when you watch me again, metaphorically. And what I learned from all that is, and wasn't really that anything that serious that I did. It just was, they just got really mad about everything. It's like choose your jobs wisely. Let's just say that. Choose your who where you work wisely.